Hello, I'm Simon Montgomery from Nickerson's, and I'm standing here in a trial variety plot of maize that we've been growing down at Launceston, comprising 6 varieties ranging from group 5s on the NIAB list up to a group 9 stroke 10. So let's go and have a look at these varieties here. The first one we're looking at here is a variety called Spartacus. Spartacus is classified as a group 8. It's from KWS, and I suppose of all the varieties, this one is possibly not the most promising looking. It's quite old now. It's been around for quite a few years. It hasn't pollinated right to the tips. And if we turn around and we start walking actually through the trials have been set out in 8 rows, planted 8 row strips. Here's another look at the cob. It hasn't pollinated right to the tip, as you can see on these here, but quite firm, quite hard, but still not ready yet for cutting. And then we start going through now into the next variety. This is Beethoven. You can see there's quite a difference there, bigger grains on the cob. There you go, that's Spartacus again. Beethoven is the control in this trial. We've got 8 rows of Beethoven and then 8 rows of the variety on trial. Beethoven is the top variety on the MGA list, and certainly my variety of choice. And you can see huge cobs, really decent grains on it, and the plant is, it's well on. It's not far off. Although it may look still very green, the plant is not far off cutting. Right, that's Beethoven. Now we're into Nescio. Now we're into 3181, which is a group 9 from Lima grain. Good cobs. It's deceiving actually when you look at the plant, because the cobs don't look all that tall or all that big, but they're standing very upright, and they actually are very long. And in the Cornwall Farmers trials last year, this variety was the top yielding starch variety of all of them. So we've got 8 rows of this. Generally it's not a bad plant. I'm very happy with that. Right, this is again more cobs, difference between Beethoven and 3181. As a show of the cob, the grains are fairly firm and hard. And if we go next door and we look at Beethoven, again bigger grains, and I'd say actually a bigger cob, and it's probably exactly the same maturity as the 3181. So compare the two there. You don't want to, but it's remarkably consistent. If you look here at the Beethoven and you look here at the 3181, I think looking at the two, the Beethoven strikes me as being the higher yielding variety. Alright, let's carry on through. Again, this is all Beethoven. Right, next variety, new one. Well, should I say it's not a new variety, but it's a long-standing variety, Nescio. It's been on the list for a long time. It's the yardstick by which all other varieties were measured in the past. Still does 101 on the NIAB list. It is a group 5, so it is quite a bit later maturing. Good cob structure, nice big grains, but again, it is, because it's a 5, still quite milky. Well, not milky, but cheesy. Come through. And there's some more. That cob is actually quite firm, and then you go next door plant, and these are quite soft, and you go one further on, and that's even softer still. But generally, a very nice, consistent plant. Actually, very big. It's a very vigorous grower. Big leaves. You can just see the eye spot just coming into the plant now. But again, very, very happy with this, and this shows promise of it because it's got good standing power. Actually, get this through a combine later on in the year. Back into Beethoven. This is our control. There we go. Right, next variety coming up is Lorado. This is a dedicated grain variety. Here's our Beethoven again. Now, if you look, the first thing you notice about Lorado is it's a huge plant. I mean, this is 6 foot 6 off the ground, my eye level, and yeah, look at the difference. The cobs are a good 10 inches lower. And if we look at the actual cobs, it's still quite cheesy. Hasn't pollinated right to the tips, which in a year like this could be actually a good thing, because it'll stop birds. It does tend to poke its nose through the tips in some years, and that will stop the birds going down the cob. There's some serious damage I've seen in some cobs this year, or some varieties this year, which have tipped, and then rats, mice and everything else have got into the tips here, and then because of that wet weather we had in August, we've got some pretty serious cob disease issues creeping into the crop now. So, to give you an idea of scale, this is Beethoven. Sorry, this is Lorado, and it's a big plant. And for a grain variety, it's rather perverse that a grain variety is actually bigger than a lot of the forage varieties we have here. Right, so this is Lorado again, looking at the difference in cobs. Nice big grain, big ears. And then we're back into Beethoven again, next door. There's a Beethoven. Good plant, Beethoven. I think it's been, this is probably one of the best varieties you'll see on the recommended list. Right, now we're into another new variety. It's the Varieties 3215. Quite distinct because it has this red mottling on the grain, and this is classified as a group 6, so it should in theory be behind Beethoven, which it is, but only marginally, but it's certainly ahead of the Nescio. And if we have a look here again, these are really quite firm. These grains are firm. Take a look at this here. You can contrast that to Beethoven. Beethoven is ahead, but it's maybe only a case of 5 or 6 days in the harvesting terms. And then we're back into Beethoven again, which is our control. So generally, as a virtual tour, it gives you some ideas to what maize crops are looking like. This, as I say, is down near Launceston, not far off the A30, and it's a very, well, it's classified as run-of-the-mill field. Nothing very special about it. Fairly good light soil, and very shillety, so it actually is borne up quite well given the weather we've had. It'll be interesting to see how this compares to the variety trial we've got down at Bude.